Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one, I'm going to be proving to you how the narcissist is damaged. As you may have seen in the thumbnail, got Nala here behind me. She's just sleeping on the bed. But yeah, I noticed in the comment section, sometimes people comment on my voice, saying that my voice sounds different, or something I saw, someone said, "What's up with the accent?" And I don't know so much if my voice is different in certain videos, but it can definitely be possible. Because, as I've mentioned, I do go through a lot of things when I'm not filming videos, and even when I am filming the video. There's always a lot of things going on around me. As an example, today, before I begin filming the video, I deal with a lot of people wherever I go, and typically there's always certain things that they do, certain stimuli, certain things to distract me from myself, to take me out of myself, to get me to react to what they're doing so that I come out of myself. And, you know, it's destabilizing, especially with loud noises. I experience a lot of loud noises throughout my day. Often very loud door slams and also banging from the ceiling, whatever room I may be in. As you may have seen on my Instagram, it has happened in many different countries. And also another thing that many of you may relate to is that when you're being harassed, when you're being abused, you tend to develop a protective self. Your brain does this automatically to protect you from further emotional trauma. And typically what happens with when you're dealing with narcissists is that they will kind of play around with your protective self. They will toy with it. Because at that point, it's the only thing they've got to play with. They can't mess with the real you. They can't mess with your real emotions. So then from that point, they just play around with your protective self, which is meant to protect you from further abuse. So, yeah, for those of you who are wondering or thinking that there is a change in my voice in certain videos, then that may be why. And also, as I mentioned, I do get a lot of tightness in my throat as a result of the abuse. My throat gets very tight, and then it's difficult to speak. And then sometimes all of a sudden it will just release on its own. And I also feel like from dealing with narcissists all the time, it's almost like there's a buildup of mucus in the throat, and then sometimes it clears and I can speak more clearly. Which is interesting because, as we know, narcissism is a leading cause of illness and disease. And also, mucus is the leading cause of illness and disease as well. So it's interesting. Maybe narcissistic abuse does cause a buildup of mucus, which of course would affect our voice, our throat, our airwaves. So all things to consider. And Yeah, if anyone else is going through this, I hope it helps to shed some light on it. Don't worry too much about it. You don't need an exorcism. It's not that you've got a demonic spirit inside of you that they're operating, that they're playing with. It's just an effect of the abuse. It's completely normal. And of course, once you may move away from the narcissist, once you get out of the abuse, then all of that will begin to go away. You will heal with time. So yeah, I hope that helps. And I'm just seeing in the live chat here, meditation, relaxation is dealing with a narcissistic neighbor who created a triangle and damaged your camera. Sorry to hear that. Meditation, relaxation. I hope your situation gets better for you. I appreciate the tips, Miss Catcher, I love. Yeah, what's important to understand is, and of course, when you're communicating with narcissists, it's going to be difficult for you to have an awareness of yourself and how the abuse is affecting you. Because as far as they're concerned, they can't affect you anyway. Any changes, any things that happen to you, that's just you in their minds. It has no reflection of them. But actually, no, that's not true. The truth is that when someone does something to you, of course, it's going to affect you. Of course, you're going to behave differently than you would have before they had done that. Now, this is just common sense. It's just that they gaslight you, and they just make you believe that it's just you. It's not. Not sure what happened there. The signal just went bad and the video cut off. But we're back now. Yes, this proves the narcissist is damaged. They rejected you. You had good intentions. You were trying to help them. You gave them all of your attention. You were fawning over them. You gave them everything you had. Now, what type of person is going to reject you when you're doing all of that for them? Just think about it. You're doing things that are good for them, that are helping them. And they then respond by rejecting you when you're trying to love them, when you're giving them the respect that they want from you. You're giving them everything that they want from you. And that's how they treat you. They reject you. If ever there's a sign that the narcissist is damaged, that's got to be it. But not only that, because after they reject you, then they start stalking you. Which can be very confusing, because it's like they painted you as this bad person, and then suddenly they start stalking you. So why would they stalk you if you're meant to be bad? Why would they want to be around you? Why would they want to be around someone who is no good for them? It doesn't make any sense. And this is how you should know that things are mixed up in their heads. But they stalk you because all of those times they mistreated you in the relationship, all of that supply they got from you, that still wasn't enough for them. And they find more joy in harassing you rather than being on good terms with you, or rather than even spending time with their own family or friends, or focusing on their own purpose. What brings them more joy is harassing you. They get more joy from that than anything else. And that's why they do it. But they don't get any joy from being good to you, from loving you, from respecting you. They don't get any joy from that at all. And that's why they typically don't do it. And instead, what do? They stalk and harass you because they're damaged people. This is what damaged people do. Otherwise, if they had hurt you, if they did things wrong with you, they would just leave you alone. They wouldn't continue to be there and cause you even more pain. It just shows how damaged they are. Especially since they just can't move on. They obsess over you. And it's not even that you've done anything to them. It's because of what they've done to you. They have harmed you and then trauma bonded themselves to you, where they are then seeking your validation to then tell themselves that they are okay, that nothing is wrong with them or nothing is wrong with what they did to you, because they have so much shame and they don't know how to deal with it. It's too painful for them. So then they've got to come back to you to feel better about themselves. They've got to fuse with you because you're innocent. You're a victim in all of this. So if they want to feel like a good person, if they want to feel pure, then all they've got to do is come back to you and fuse with you. All they have to do is stalk you, watch you, monitor you, to feel like they're a part of you, to feel like they're involved with you. But if ever there was a sign, other than the first sign, other than the sign of them rejecting you, if there's ever a sign that the narcissist is damaged, it's that they tried to damage you. Hurt people. So they must have been hurt already to then go out and hurt you. They tried to damage you because they're damaged. But that's the thing. Even if they do damage you, it's not going to have the same effect, because you're not going to do what they do. You're not going to try and put it back onto them. You're not going to hold them accountable for it. I mean, you may try, but they're not going to take accountability anyway. So instead, all you can do is go within. All you can do is take accountability for the damage that they caused, and then heal it, correct it. So things are only going to get better for you. You're going to heal, you're going to grow, you're going to move on. But it's not going to be that way for them. They're going to remain stuck because they don't try to take accountability. They don't try to make amends. So how is anything ever going to get better for them? And this is how we see it in narcissists. They get worse with age. They become even more bitter, even more resentful, but also often more covert, more manipulative. It's more under the radar, but it just makes them even worse. And then they also engage in illegal and immoral activities. They may commit fraud. They may steal from you. They may have many addictions. They may engage in drugs. They may get drunk every day. And I apologize for the tapping above my head. This happens all of the time, wherever I go. There's always this tapping noise coming down. And of course, what happens is it distracts me. And it just kind of takes me out of myself, and then it's difficult for me to focus. Because of course, when you've got constant tapping above your head, it just takes your attention away. It just disturbs you. But yeah, I mean, I've had this experience now for probably about 8 years. It first started back in 2016, originally in the UK. And it was just every day, all day, all night, just constant banging above my head. And it's been going on now for 8 years. Follows me in every country around the world. And that's how, if you pay attention to any video I've made, listen carefully in the background, especially in between my words, you will hear the sounds in the background, the banging above my head, as well as police sirens, car horns, door slamming. This all goes on when I make my videos. And yet, no matter what, I still try to remain focused, because I want to make this a good experience for you and to ensure that you get the knowledge that you need. But yes, they will be engaging in illegal and immoral activities and in their many addictions, because this is how they try to cope. This is how they try to numb themselves from the pain that they feel inside. And how do you know that you're not damaged? How do you know that you're not so far gone like they are? Well, they're the ones coming after you. They're still stalking you. They're harassing you. Because otherwise, they would just leave you alone. They would just see it as though if you're that hurt, if you're that damaged, you're not going to find any peace within yourself. You're never going to be at rest. And this is why they keep coming back. Because they're the ones who can't be alone. They're the ones who just cannot reflect on themselves. They just can't even think straight. There is no peace. There's no stability within themselves. While as for us, after dealing with a narcissist, all we want is to be alone. We just want to isolate ourselves from the world, because that's where we find peace. That's where we find stability, control within ourselves. Now, this is why many of you, you may experience a smear campaign, you may experience gang stalking. For this simple reason, you're not a damaged person. You're not mentally ill. And that's the whole point. They gang stalk you. They enforce their flying monkeys to destabilize you, to make you mentally ill. Because otherwise, what would be the point? Why harass someone? Why gang stalk someone if they're already crazy, if they're already mentally ill? That's their objective, that's their purpose, is to make you just like them. Because of course, for someone to have all of these flying monkeys harassing people, for people to be engaged in gang stalking, there's got to be something seriously wrong with them. They've got to be mentally ill. And yeah, when we're talking about illegal activities, Their smear campaigns, their gang stalking, that's definitely a part of it. This is what corrupt people do. They go down in life. They can't win by being good, by being righteous. So they give up. And they hope that by them doing that, they hope that it's going to make us give up. They're hoping that it's going to make us go down as well. That's their objective. That's what they're trying to achieve. And that's why they will also play dumb. They will lie about what they do. They will act like they've done nothing wrong. As though what you're doing now that's unprovoked, that's not as a result of anything that they've done to you. That's just you being you. It's how they will try to portray it. Because they want to make you look like the bad person so that they can feel better about themselves. But yet, this is what damaged people do. They play dumb. There's no acceptance. They're in denial. Damaged people are in denial. And they lack self-awareness. They lack a sense of self. Now that's how they can so easily ghost you. They can so easily give it a silent treatment. They can so easily pretend like you never even existed to them. And they'll go off and act like it's because they're so healthy and happy with someone else, with their new supply. No, they're not. They're just damaged people who can't form a bond, a connection with someone. That's how they could just go off and it seems like everything's great. Because they're damaged, they're messed up. I tell you, what do? They shame you for being able to connect to them. They make you feel bad for that. They make you feel like that makes you a bad person. They make you feel rejected. They shame you and blame you for your healthy qualities, for the good things about you. Because those are things that they just don't have. And that's where they shame you for it. They deflect the shame onto you. But then they will also act fake nice. They will pretend to be on good terms with you. They will act like everything's fine. Meanwhile, they're doing all of this stuff behind your back. They're stalking you. They're engaged in illegal and immoral activities. They're doing all of these things wrong to you. And all the while, they're acting fake nice. If that's not a damaged person, I don't know what is. They're damaged. Because who does that? Who has all of these evil intentions and yet at the same time they act fake nice? It's because they're screwed up in the minds. It's because there's something seriously wrong with them. And that's why they can't be authentic, they can't be direct, they can't be straightforward. But people who can, even if they are damaged, I'd rather have a conversation with someone like that. Because at least they can accept it. At least they can accept that, okay, maybe they've got a few screws loose. But with a narcissist, they act like there's nothing wrong with them. They act fake nice. Meanwhile, they're doing all of these crazy things behind the scenes. And I really believe that that's what makes them so bad. That's what causes it to get out of hand. It's that there's no attention to it. They're not giving attention to themselves, to what's wrong with them. And they won't let anyone else attend to it as well. So of course the problem can only get worse because they're in denial and they're gaslighting other people. They're causing other people to be in denial about it. So how can it get any better? And this is how some of the most damaged people are the ones who are in denial. It's only when they become aware of it, when they accept it, that things can then get better. But try that with narcissists, it's very difficult because they associate with other damaged people. And if you try to call them out on their behaviors, what do? They attack you. And then they go off and they find someone more foolish or unsuspecting to take care of them. Because that's all they really want. They just want people who are going to sustain their disorder, help to keep it functioning. They don't want to get better. I mean, in some ways, yes, of course. To be a damaged person, it's going to cause a lot of suffering. It causes them a lot of problems, a lot of pain that they have to go through every day. They're in hell in their minds. But this is the crazy thing about it. Because while they may be in hell in their minds, at the same time, they kind of like it. They kind of like their sickness. Because then by being in hell in their minds, by having this sickness, by having all of this shame, this anger, this frustration, then they look at you and they see you're full of love, you're full of light, energy, vitality, sustenance, innocence, purity, glow. You're full of all of that. And they look at you and then they rob you of that. And they destroy you for having it because they don't have it. Yeah, they like how that works. They like how it works when they get their narcissistic supply. It feels good for them. Now that's why they don't try to change it. Because if it really felt that bad and they couldn't find a way to regulate it, if they couldn't get their supply, then many of them might actually change. And if they didn't change, then they might just commit suicide. The reason why they don't is because they like how their disorder works. They like the way that they can just go off and target someone, get supply, elevate themselves at their expense, feel a little bit better, get that little high. They like how that works. It just reveals that they are damaged. Because otherwise, when a person isn't damaged, when a person at least has that acceptance of their own condition, and they're trying to move in the right direction, they're trying to heal, they're trying to be better, that's not going to do anything for you. Putting other people down, insulting them, making them feel bad, making them feel small, it's not going to do you any good. Because you're going in a different direction. All that's going to make you feel good is lifting people up, inspiring them, motivating them. But that's not how it is with these narcissists. They have to put people down. Or they have to associate with other people who are like them, who are at the same level, because then they can feel more comfortable as well. This is what they do. But you know what? Many of them, if they did actually try to turn things around, they would try to come back to you. They would try to make amends with you if they were genuinely beginning to heal. Because that's what I've seen with self-aware narcissists on YouTube, such as Raw Motivations and Lee Hammock, even Sam Vaknin as well. And I've mentioned that in my earlier videos too. And also with narcissists or criminals as well, who may have committed a crime, when they're genuinely beginning to heal, what they want to do more than anything else is try to make their wrongs right, try to turn things around, try to make up for what they did wrong. And that's how we do see with those narcissists who do generally try to heal. That's typically what they try to do. They try to improve, make things better where they once caused damage or problems. And for some reason, it appears to be something that they're genuinely passionate about as well, such as Lee Hammock or Raw Motivations. It's like the very thing that they used to do themselves, and now they're educating people on narcissistic abuse. It's interesting, but this is just how it seems to work. While with those who are damaged and have no interest in changing, that's typically the opposite of what they're going to do. That's the last thing they want to be involved in, because remember, the whole point is that they're in denial. They don't accept that they have a problem. So what do they need to do better? What do they need to improve? They don't have to improve anything. But also, and what people don't talk about much, but I've heard this from a self-aware narcissist who's trying to heal. He told me that along his healing journey, he's faced a lot of pushback. People taking advantage of his diagnosis. And honestly, for me, if demons do exist, that is demonic. That is the worst thing that someone can do. If someone is trying to be better, if someone is trying to heal, and people aren't letting them do that, that is the worst thing that anyone can do. It's horrible. Because if someone can accept the wrong that they have done, then at least let them move on from it. At least let them heal. But yeah, that's what I heard from a self-aware, diagnosed narcissist that I've spoken to. But as for most of these narcissists, they are damaged. They're in denial and they are not going to change. They're not going to get better. And when I say that they are damaged, they are emotionally damaged, psychologically, mentally. They're just damaged in the mind. They have a damaged spirit. And yet at the same time, they will not accept it. Even while they're doing all of these things to you. It's not something that they're going to reflect on. And this is why you do need to be very careful. Because of course, damaged people, they will damage you. They will cause all sorts of problems for you. Which is why the best thing that you can do is to avoid them. Stay far away from them. Because they're just going to slow your progress and your healing. They do not want you to heal. Because the more that you progress, the more that you heal, you're just leaving them behind. You're leaving them in a pit of their own misery, in a pit that they cannot climb out of. They can only pull you into it. And that's how they have this crabs in the bucket mentality. It's like they see one crab trying to climb out of the bucket, and then they just pull you back in. They won't let you climb out because they can't climb out. They don't have the strength to do that. So yeah, be very aware of it. Be very careful around these types of people. Because damaged people will try to damage you. And once they've damaged you, they will try to keep you damaged. They will try to keep you down. They will try to keep you stuck with them. So that's my talk on this topic. Let me know your thoughts about what I've said in the live chat. Let me know if you have any questions. I will read them out and respond to them. Just got Nala laying down here on the bed. She's sleeping. She had a long day traveling from the other room that I was in. And I just gave her treatment today. And then all of a sudden, she just jumped up and ran away. She doesn't like it because it feels wet on her body. But of course she's got to have it. Here's the view from here. Still in Malaysia. Nala always likes to look out the windows as well. Alright, I'm looking at the live chat. Let's see what people are saying here. People saying about how Lee Hammock still has a narcissistic smirk, and Sam Vaknin. But keep in mind, even with victims who have been through extreme abuse, something extreme could happen, and the victim will smile or even laugh about it, which could cause people to think that they are a narcissist or a psychopath. And it could be something ridiculous. It could be the narcissist could murder their own family member in front of them, and the victim might just laugh about it because they've been trained over a long period of time to see anything harmful or abusive to them as a joke, as something funny. So this is how this happens. And I was just watching a video from Richard Grannon just before I filmed this. And he was saying about when he's spoken to his clients and they share about what has happened to them. Usually They are smiling about it or laughing about it when they're talking to him. So that this is a common experience among narcissistic abuse victims. This is what they'll do to you. They'll make you feel like whatever's happening to you, the abuse, whatever they're doing to the people around you, this is all just a joke. It's just something to laugh about. Because they don't want you to take it seriously. And it doesn't matter how extreme it may be. Because that's what we have to understand about narcissists. People are just cartoon characters to them. They don't see us as real people. Because they're not real people. Life is just a joke to them. It's not something they take serious. As Catherine Love says, I would not trust any self-aware narcissist. At this point, forget about just self-aware narcissists. I don't know if I can trust anyone anymore. Some of the things that I've seen people do, I've lost faith in most humans at this point. I mean, it's only really animals that I can trust. Like my Nala. I feel like my Nala would never try to hurt me. But yeah, that's just a part of it. You know, it's very difficult to trust people. After the amount of things that the narcissist may have done to you. And of course, when they see that it's working, when it's getting them supply, they will do it again and again. And you may try to hold on to your trust, but they will do it as many times as they possibly can until you just start to expect it, you anticipate it. You expect that all that's going to happen is abuse. Resista says, I've never met one that has a high-level hobby or particular skill. Yeah, many of them, they are very lazy. And they don't really like to do anything. They just want to pretend to be something. Clark Kamyabi says, sometimes I think Narc Survivor is a narc himself. I can tell you no narc is going to be making this many videos on YouTube. I mean, as many videos as I've made, 4,000 videos at this point. Not only that, but another thing to look for is how orchestrated, how scripted is everything. I mean, especially on the topic of narcissistic abuse, I don't think a narcissist would be able to just sit there in their room, live on camera, and thinking about, because of course they would think about this, especially because they scan your body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. So knowing that they're on camera in front of so many people, especially if they're doing live videos and they have so many videos, there's so many opportunities for people to scan their body language to see if they're being genuine. So, I mean, you know, I'm not here to convince anyone of whether I'm a narcissist or not. Personally, I identify as an empath, and I've talked about my story a little bit. I have experienced a lot of abuse. I've been provoked potentially hundreds of thousands of times, harassed, often with violence as well. And yet, on very few occasions have I reacted. I mean, of course, you know, we always react, but not in a way that is harmful to the other person. I typically just keep it to myself and just keep it moving. I would say that I've definitely got some codependency to work on. I've been a bit of a people pleaser. I mean, just a few years ago, I was earning about $15,000 a month. I got involved with some real narcissists, and now I earn just $1,000 a month. And I've just had to learn to live with that. So I'm definitely not winning in life, even though I've been working every day, 12 hours, sometimes more, every single day for 7 years. I can tell you, no narcissist is going to do that and be happy with practically nothing at the end of it. And most people, they're not going to be doing a job for $15,000 a month, and then after a certain amount of time doing that same job but for more hours, and then just for $1,000 a month. They would just forget about it. But yeah, at this point for myself, I mean, I don't examine myself too much as I did before on whether or not I have a narcissistic traits myself, because at this point it's not really helpful for me. When I'm constantly being gang stalked and being harassed, I mean, for my own survival, I would be better off if I was a narcissist. Maybe then I could keep people away from me. Because that's the thing, I mean, narcissists, they're not going to go gang stalking and harassing other narcissists. That's typically not going to happen, because that would be very dangerous for them. Again, for most of you, I would say try to become a bit narcissistic yourself. Because if you're being targeted by a narcissist, if you're being exploited by one, it might help for you to have stronger boundaries, for you to assert yourself more, demand more. And that's what I try to teach myself every day. Because most of the time, I'm typically losing with most people that I get involved with. I end up giving so much and I get back very little in return. And that's how many of you may have seen my journey, how much things have changed over the past few years. That's just typically what we will see in codependence. Cynthia Yakushev says, avoid them, even if you have to hunker down in your home like a bad hurricane. If they get refused, frustration, aggression is next. Be safe. Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's no winning for me because I've been to all sorts of different countries. I mean, maybe 16 countries so far. And I've been harassed in every country. Even if I don't go out, even if I just stay indoors, then I have to deal with all of the door slamming, sirens outside, all of the car horns, and all of the banging from the ceiling. So there's really nowhere for me to go. And I just kind of have to sit and deal with it. But sometimes I like to put my earphones in so that it's not so noisy. And that does help sometimes, but then also I feel like I get ear infections because I spend most of the day wearing earphones. But fortunately for most of you, it's not going to be like that. I mean, most of you are likely to have a safe space for yourself, a safe environment where the narcissist can't get to you. So that's definitely something to feel grateful for. That you do have that space to heal and to feel like yourself. Saul Lopez says, sometimes I also wonder if Narc Survivor is one himself. It's interesting to see that comment again. I'm not sure if these are troll comments. But instead of just a statement, maybe what might help for people to explore your concerns is if you can expand on it and say why you think someone is a narcissist. Maybe in reference to the DSM-5 and the 9 traits. Maybe that could be more helpful. But also, what I would advise is to not make too many judgments about what you see online. Because often a person's online persona, it's very different from what they're like in person. And especially since a narcissist on YouTube, they're typically going to be very friendly, very pleasant, charming, just very kind. You're not going to see what they're really like. So someone may seem fine online, and then they can be really toxic once you get to know them. And of course, that's how many of you got involved with narcissists, because they didn't seem like a narcissist at the very first meeting. If they did, then you would have got away from them. But for myself as well, I mean, before I make these videos, before I go live, I go through a lot of abuse. People already know when I'm about to go live on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, the doors start slamming about 10 times. There's all of the banging coming down from the ceiling, as you can probably hear at the moment. All of the car horns and the sirens go crazy outside. I mean, if I could just record the space just for 10 minutes before I go live and show it live on the video before I speak, I think many of you would be shocked how I even maintain my composure. I'm sure most people, they would just be screaming and yelling and just going crazy. They'd probably just be like, shut up. But for me, I'm just very quiet and very calm, because I've just learned to deal with it, to cope with it. But actually, I will say that earlier on, when this first began 8 years ago, when I first started getting the banging from the ceiling, I went absolutely crazy. I couldn't put up with it. It was going on all day, all night, and it was so loud. And I ended up getting a chair and smashing the ceiling and just telling them to shut up. And then at one point, I even got a plate and threw it out the window up the balcony into the other person's room, because they just wouldn't stop. And then, of course, what do? They called the police on me, and I got into trouble. And also, they called the police again because I started playing loud music just to try and drown the noise out. So, this is what happens when you deal with narcissists. They will always twist it around and make it your fault. They always blame the victim. And of course, they blame the victim because you're the light. You threaten to expose them. But yeah, it's interesting to think back how crazy I was back then. But was I really crazy? I mean, I think that's kind of a normal reaction. When you're dealing with such loud banging, and it's just, no matter what you do, it won't stop. And it just gets louder. I just ended up losing my mind. And actually, I think it was shortly after that I tried to take my own life. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. Lorraine Diane says, when I met him, he told me he was damaged goods. I assumed it was because his wife had left him years earlier, and I knew it had devastated him. But now I know the real truth. You have to see the signs. Yeah, sometimes you might get little confessions from a narcissist. Maybe if they're feeling shame, but then also they still see you as good supply. And maybe they suspect that you see something in them, or that you're going to find out something about them. So then they see it as though they're better off just coming clean about it, rather than for you to find out on your own. Steady Pace says, NS is an empath who doesn't accept narc rubbish anymore. I'm the same. Yeah, you've got to be very careful with narcissists towards the end of the relationship. After they've sucked you dry, they've gotten so much out of you. What do they do towards the end? Of course, they blame you. They're going to start calling you selfish. They will call you the narcissist because they want you to do more for them. They don't want you to start calling them out, exposing them. They want you to stay quiet about the things that they've done to you and just pretend as though you haven't done enough for them. And this is why there's so many people out there who are not real victims, and they're actually covert narcissists who are in denial. They're gaslighting themselves. And how do you know that you're not a covert narcissist who's pretending to be a victim? One of the first signs, of course, is that you question yourself. And especially if they called you a narcissist, if they called you selfish, you question yourself. You may doubt yourself for a moment. You may feel a bit of shame. You may feel like maybe you could be better. But a covert narcissist is never going to think that way. It's always going to be you. It will always be you. It will always be your fault. You will always be to blame for everything. And it will never be them. They will never have to do anything. All they will ever have to do is just sit back, have you do everything for them. And when you get tired, when you start getting sick, when you start calling them out, then they just point the finger at you. Amanda Surley says, he told me he didn't drink, yet there were beers in his fridge. Never drank in front of me, and I don't drink. He smoked like a trooper. Yeah, that's something you will often see with narcissists, is that they do smoke and drink a lot more than the average person. Miss Cashra Love says it all boils down to intentions. The intentions of self-aware narcissists are self-serving and exploitative. That's right, and they also don't care if they harm people. It's that lack of empathy. They don't care if people get hurt, as long as they get what they want. I don't know if you can hear this noise though. It's been going on this entire video. It sounds like someone's just sitting up there and just dropping objects on the floor every few seconds. But funny enough, that happened at the last room as well. I was just sitting down on the bed the entire day until evening. And it was just objects being dropped on the floor every few seconds for about maybe 12 hours straight. Like someone just didn't even get up to have anything to eat or to use the toilet, nothing. It's crazy. Steady Pace says, NS, the camera is making your eyes look tired. Make sure you get enough rest and sleep. I need to do that myself. Yeah, you can see it in a person's eyes when they're going through things, when they're having certain experiences. It does show in the eyes. And it's just what happens when you're around people and they're just sucking the life out of you every day. They're draining you. And yeah, you just begin to feel tired. You begin to feel not much like yourself. After I get some rest, I'm normally okay. But it definitely takes it out of me by the end of the day. Because that's just it. I mean, a lot of people, they need energy. They want to suck the life out of you. They want to use you as their supply. And it just drains you of your life force. But yeah, rest is very important. Rest, exercise, healthy food, vegetables. Saul Lopez is definitely a troll because now he's asking for a video on dark empaths. So, first trying to accuse me of being a narcissist, and now just trying to make anyone who identifies as an empath maybe doubt or question if they're a dark empath. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, if you're being abused, if you're being exploited by a narcissist every day, the last thing on your mind should be if you're a narcissist. Even if you are, who cares? What does it matter? The point is you're being abused, you're being harmed. So you should want to become more narcissistic to defend yourself. I mean, just think about this back in the tribal days. If someone from the other tribe is coming to attack you, they're coming to take your life, and you're about to pick up a spear, but then you think, oh no, I shouldn't do that. That would make me a narcissist. Then what's going to happen? You're going to get killed. It doesn't matter. Don't worry so much about being narcissistic yourself when you're involved with someone who's trying to destroy you. You can worry about that afterwards, after you're out of danger. Now, narcissists will use this as a trick to play on your empathy, to stop you from protecting yourself, because they want to get all in with you. They want to exploit you for as much as they can. And they may recognize that you're an empath, that they can chain you, they can guilt trip you, they can get you to back down. Now, this is why you've got to become a super empath. You've got to recognize that you are very valuable. Your qualities need to be preserved and you need to protect yourself. So don't let them use that trick on you. Don't let them make you question if you're a narcissist for trying to protect yourself to the point where you overlook everything that they're doing to you. They use that on us because we care. Yes, we care about if we're a narcissist or not. We don't want to be one. We don't want to be narcissistic. We don't want to be mentally ill. But here's the thing, narcissists don't care. They don't care if they're narcissists. They don't even think about it. That's why they don't change. They don't even feel bad about it. They'll make you feel bad. Lorraine Diane says, I do wonder if these self-aware narcissists get supply from us watching their videos. Now, I would imagine that since they're self-aware, they're aware of their disorder, they're aware of their condition. So perhaps they may have a choice, kind of like they've taken the red pill, and they have a choice on whether or not they want to go back into the matrix for a moment to extract supply. That may be the case for some of them. But as for others, maybe they can't go back, maybe they can't get that same supply like they used to. I mean, I'm not completely sure about how it works. I'm just talking about how I would expect it to be. I mean, really, I need to do another interview with Jack Hex, because I'm sure he can answer that question. There's a lot of questions that he could answer that I can't. Because of course, I do have my limits in knowing what goes on in a narcissist's mind. I appreciate all of the kind words and support in the live chat. DJ says it's like they're just attracted to an empath. Yeah, it's because they can exploit your empathy. They can guilt trip you, they can make you feel bad for practicing self-care, for taking care of yourself, for just your basic needs, keeping yourself alive. Or they can guilt trip you. They can just make you feel bad. They can make you believe in things. So this is why they like empaths. Because other people, they're not going to fall for the guilt tripping. They're not going to listen if they call them selfish or a narcissist. They're not going to care. That might just make them attack them even more. But with us, it makes us back down. So that's why they stay on us. And that's why there's very few empaths in the world today. This is why we have to become super empaths. Don't back down when they guilt trip you, when they try to make you feel bad for practicing self-care, for taking care of yourself. Because do you think they would feel bad for you? Do you think they care about you when they do the things that they do? They don't. They don't care if you call them a narcissist, if you call them selfish, if you tell them that they don't care about you, they don't care. It means nothing to them. So why should it mean anything to you? Why give your love, your empathy, your compassion to someone who's just going to use that to destroy you even more? They don't deserve it. They do not deserve your love. They do not deserve your empathy. So save it for someone who does. Isle Derb says, if I were a narc, I'd run from narc live chats. Yeah, there are a lot of narcissistic trolls in these live chats. But also, I found that they do watch narcissistic abuse videos because they want to learn more about how they can manipulate us. And they want to know what we know about them. So it makes sense for them to watch these videos. They use it to fine-tune their manipulation, to improve their skills at exploiting people. Yes, that's right, Lorraine. Narcs come on these videos to master their craft. But yeah, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I am very tired today. I had a long journey, about 2 hours to get from the other room to here. And I actually only had one meal today. I didn't eat until about, I think it was 7 p.m. So I had no food for about 24 hours. But that's supposed to help as well. I mean, fasting is meant to be good. It's meant to reverse aging. But I personally wouldn't recommend too much fasting from my own experience. Because think about it. Your body needs the energy. If you're going through it, if you're dealing with abuse, you're being harassed, you're trying to heal, your body needs the food, the energy, just to get through the day, just to accomplish the tasks that you need to accomplish. So I would be very cautious with fasting when you're trying to heal from narcissistic abuse or when you're still in the relationship. Of course, I advise that you speak to a doctor first before you make any dietary changes. Lorraine Diane says, Christopher, me and others can say we really appreciate all of your hard work and dedication you put into your videos for us. You're a star. Thank you, Lorraine. I was getting a bit worried about those 2 messages questioning me. I would dread that would how it would end for my YouTube journey. I mean, wouldn't that be like a narcissistic relationship for me? If it's like, I made 4,000 videos, going live sometimes for 90 minutes, 2 hours a day. And then in the end, after 7 years, everyone turns around and says, Narc Survivor is the narcissist. But yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is when we deal with these narcissists. We give them everything. We put in all of the time, the energy, the effort. We do everything we can. And in the end, what happens? They call us the narcissist. They blame us. It's crazy. But actually, I wouldn't be surprised. Thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. That narcissists, they may come out, covert narcissists, they may act as victims of narcissistic abuse. And they may then try to discredit us coaches, the YouTubers who are exposing them. Because where better to start than with the very people who know them better than they know themselves, the people who are studying them. So pay close attention to who they discredit, because typically, if you do manage to get a narcissist to go to therapy and the therapist recognizes something wrong with them, what will they do? Of course, they will discredit the therapist. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter how qualified, how experienced they are. They will say there's something wrong with the therapist before they ever look within themselves. And this is how they start smear campaigns. They bring in flying monkeys. They get hundreds, thousands of people involved before they ever think to look within and question if they could have been better themselves. Which is crazy. Because they just do not want anything to do with themselves. And well, for us, we'd love to just be ourselves. We'd love to not have to deal with the abuse every day, where we could just be calm, relaxed, in a peaceful environment. That's all we want. So if people are calling us narcissists, then all right, okay, yes, let's start now. Let's have a peaceful environment, no abuse, no problems, no harassment. Let's see how things go. Let's try it. But no, you won't get that. It will never be peaceful. There will always be problems. There will always be chaos. because they can't function in a peaceful environment. They are the problem. It's not you. They will find any way to cause disruption to continue getting supply from you. They will discredit therapists. They will do whatever they have to do. They will discredit YouTube coaches, psychologists, whoever it may be. Whoever questions them, whoever sees anything wrong with them. Nothing will ever be wrong with them. And there won't be any healing journey for them. There won't be any progress. They're going to be the same with the rest of their lives. Nothing is ever going to change with them. The only thing that changes is the manipulation or the supply as well. But that's just it. I mean, your job is not to convince narcissists that you're not a narcissist. Who cares about what they think? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I mean, it's like trying to convince a con artist that you're not a con artist. I mean, why have you got to convince anything to them? Maybe convince it to someone who's not doing what they do. Then it makes more sense. I mean, remember, this is why they're the ones coming after you, because you're the one who's authentic. You're the one who's pure. You're the one who's not deceptive or dishonest. That's why they're the ones who target you for that reason. So, but typically that will be their end goal, I mean, is to destroy your innocence, rob you of it. Many of you, however, you can continue regenerating it from within. So then, in those extreme situations, their goal may be to trick your mind, get you to see yourself differently. And when they try to do that, that's how you know that you have won. That's how you know you've defeated them. Because therefore they can do is gaslight you into thinking that there's something wrong with you. It reveals that they can't make something wrong with you. It reveals that you're a true empath, you're a true chosen one. Because why have they got to convince you that something is wrong with you? Why have they got to convince other people about that? Why is it not that they can't make something wrong with you? Why can't they make you crazy? They can't, you're too resilient. So all they can do is settle for convincing you. Just getting you to perceive yourself differently in your mind. Getting you to not see yourself as you actually are. That's how you know that you have won. That's how you know there is nothing that they can do at that point. If they have to resort to that tactic, you've destroyed them, annihilated them. They cannot defeat you. That's why they have to settle for that. So yeah, be glad that you are authentic, you are pure. You're not contaminated, you're not damaged. You're not a piece of crap like the narcissist. You're a good, kind, genuine person. And they're just mad. They're just jealous that you are not going to be good or kind for them anymore. Now that you know what they are. Now that you know that they never had your best interest at heart. They never cared about you. They ruthlessly exploited you. They know they are not deserving, and now you know they are not deserving of you. And that is what they can't stand. That's why they just want to make you think that you're not really you, you're not really as good as you think. Something is wrong with you. so that you can't have that over them, so that you can't see all of this amazing value that you have for yourself, and they cannot have a piece of that. And that's why they're so mad. That's why they can't stand it. But you know what? Let them be mad. Let them drive themselves insane, because that's what they deserve. Good to see the Jordan girl. A bit late, the George. But it's all right, I know. I went live quite late today than usual. But yeah, that's it for this one. Live from Kuala Lumpur. With Nala. Looks like she's meditating. My fingers just locked from holding the phone. But yeah, here's Nala. Thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor live video. I appreciate all of you, all of my viewers, all of my subscribers, all of the support. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You're welcome to donate to my PayPal. It is paypal.me/narcsurvivor. You can book a one-on-one with me on my website. It's narcsurvivor.co.uk. And if you haven't yet follow me on Instagram. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. All right, that's it for this one. Thank you all for joining me and Nala on another live. And we will talk to you soon.